This is Mathews, Louisiana, and it's named after the Mathews family who made their way to Bayou Lafourche in the early 1800s. George Mathews Sr. was a general and was a two-time governor of the state of Georgia after the American Revolution. He had a son named George Jr., who married a woman named Harriet Flowers of Louisiana. The couple would move to St. Francisville to live at Harriet's family home called Butler Greenwood Plantation. Thomas Jefferson, you probably heard of him, appointed Mathews as the judge of the new Superior Court of the Mississippi Territory before being appointed to the same position for the Territory of Orleans in 1806. When Louisiana became a state, the territorial courts were replaced by a new Supreme Court. Mathews was appointed as judge to the new court by Governor William C.C. Claiborne. After this, he would extend his land holdings to include a plantation along Bayou Lafourche, and he named it Georgia Plantation. And this plantation was about 10,000 to 15,000 acres and had roughly 1,300 people living and working on the grounds, including the Mathews family, their field and house slaves, and overseers. Now, the slaves would have been divided with English and French speaking, depending on the time period, and the crop was, of course, sugarcane. The town of Mathews would be named after him, and the Georgia plantation went to his son after George's death in November of 1836. The Georgia plantation would stay in the Mathews family for the next 100+ years or so. In the early 1830s, a Louisiana family went to France with their young slave girl, Josephine Louise. When the family returned home, Josephine's mother sued that family to obtain a declaration of immediate emancipation as a result of being transported to France, because at this time, France did not recognize the institution of slavery. Now, the 1835 case Marie-Louise versus Moreau was heard by the Louisiana State District Court and appealed to the Louisiana Supreme Court. The court held that a slave who is taken to a territory that doesn't allow slavery cannot again be reduced to slavery on returning to a territory that allows it. Mathews stated that being free for one moment, that it was not in the power of her former owner to reduce her to slavery again. 21 years later, his precedent was relied upon by U.S. Supreme Court Justice John McLean. Now, McLean was against slavery and dissented from the Supreme Court's Dred Scott ruling. Now, Dred Scott ruling said that the Constitution was not meant to include American citizenship for people of African descent, regardless of whether they were enslaved or free, so they couldn't have the same rights and privileges as citizens. 7 out of 2 justices would be in agreement with this decision by the court in what has been considered the worst decision ever made by the Supreme Court. Today, the town of Mathews is sort of a business hub in the Central Lafourche region. And Mathews is also the location of Central Lafourche High School that was established in 1965 and adopted the mascot of the Fighting Trojans. Now you know the history of Mathews as you cruise along Louisiana Highway 1 on your road trip down Bayou Lafourche. For more history, horror, folklore, and culture, subscribe to our YouTube channel and find us on TikTok and Instagram. I'm Kyle Crosby, and this is Louisiana Dread Quick History.